the morning DNA for, let's go with January 4th in the year of our Lord 2021.
The year of our Lord.
I am Aaron Dicer, the man of a single black shirt. She is Danae Hughes, the woman of a million distractions, and we are on day 4.
Sort of a single black shirt. That's a temporary shift in the introduction should occur, but only for 2 more after today.
That's what I was saying. We're on day 4 of this shirt.
I thought you meant day 4 of January. I was like,
That's true. It's fair enough.
That's funny.
So one more show, I'll be wearing this shirt as mandated by you, our loyal members of Team DNA. Thank you.
This is so loud. This is so loud. I made a really poor decision just seconds ago. I decided that I wanted to put this in my coffee today.
Yeah. It's a premium hot cocoa mix. Gotcha. Yeah.
Oh, Danae kind of loud, Aaron kind of quiet, which is
I was going to tell you that. We didn't have a lot of time to go over it because you kind of jumped in and we jumped in. But yeah, you're really loud this morning.
Oh my gosh.
So if you go into your settings, check and see if your volume equalization thing is unchecked somehow.
Okay.
That might help a little bit. Otherwise, something on your board got bumped and you are blasting out.
I'm sorry, everybody.
So yeah.
It says automatically adjust mic volume is check marked.
Oh man, this is bad news, Danae. You see if you can dial a knob there because honestly,
is that better?
That is better.
Cool.
That is better. Nicely done.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Now they're saying I'm not loud enough.
I'm really liking this one. My ears. Sorry about that, everybody. Thank you for telling me. I mean, I don't know what happened.
See if I can increase mine a little bit here. Does that help anybody? I can't tell.
Checking. 1, 2. We normally don't get to do mic checks with you guys.
Yeah.
New Year, same Danae.
This is actually a new tradition for the new year. We decided to.
Okay, this is really funny because I went to go click on Lauren's comment, which says New Year, same Danae, and Lolly jumps in with a stop playing with your knobs comment. Excellent. Excellent.
This is going to be a new tradition on the show. We're just going to do Mic Check Live, and it's in fact we're going to just take the first 20 minutes of every morning we go live, just cameras and microphones and
it's a bit of a wonky morning. I literally woke up not long ago. I got ready not long ago, so I'm a bit out of. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. I don't know anything.
I would like to know if the knob I turned adjusted my volume enough. If people can hear me now.
Yeah, that is something we want to know before going on because we are recording for our podcast as well.
Sure.
For those of you that don't know, we have a podcast also, spans all the way back to 2012. Some really crazy stuff, conversations that we've had, but that was obviously a different format. This is the new iteration of the show that Aaron and I have been doing together since, basically 2011.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you guys for joining us today. Let's see. Is Danae ever going to wear a penguin or platypus onesie live on the Morning DNA? Acres, I knew I recognized your name from somewhere. This is coming from Twitch. Apparently, there is a little thing happening in the makers and crafting community where people are buying. I think what it is like the pajamas. You know, like the big adult people pajamas.
Sure. Absolutely.
But they're called onesies, which does not have the same visual for me at all.
You're coming out of having an infant. Onesie means something completely different.
Super different.
Yeah.
Apparently, my mother decided to buy a couple of onesies that did not fit her, and they're going to be coming to me. And apparently, the question now is, am I going to be wearing them on my show? Listen, we're going to make it a Patreon stretch goal. If we get our next goal, our next one technically is a D&D one shot. And then maybe we can make it a goal. And I will wear a onesie 5 times, just like Aaron has to wear his crazy T-shirt one time.
That could be. All right, I'm going to turn my volume up just a little bit more for Sweet Chicken Sir and see if this does anything for anyone.
Ooh, I can hear you.
So, yeah.
Guys,
if that sounds okay.
Thank you for being patient with us while we adjust our microphones and such. Here's the problem that I made this morning, though. Okay. This packet is massive. I usually put maybe a quarter of this into my coffee. But because I was panicked, I put the entire thing in. This is look how thick this is. This is like soup.
Mercy.
This is like coffee and hot chocolate soup. Anyway.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
Bad things happen when you panic today. Bad things happen when you panic.
I super panicked. Did you see me panicking? I was like, I was like trying to, just dumping it in here.
No. I'm going to be honest here, Danae. Sometimes it's difficult to tell in the backstage pre-show during the music if you're panicking or dancing. Like sometimes they look very similar. They're very much the same.
It's a really good point.
So it's hard to tell the difference.
Yeah.
How's your new year, Danae? You doing all right?
Yeah.
This is my least favorite week of the year. Now, I'm not going to say like I hate this week or anything. Like every week deserves its moment in the sun, but man, first week of January is just like you're coming out of the high of, Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving and the holidays and
go back to work.
You've been eating like crazy and, and not paying attention to stuff. And then, and you've had a little bit of lighter workload. And then, boom, you hit first week of January. It's like, guess what? Real life is back. And I'm just like, oh, man, this week.
Okay. Super good point. I hate this week too.
I think we could all, I can't imagine. Okay, so here's the thing. Personally, I'm sure people have weeks that are more difficult for them based on personal experiences, memories, those kind of things. But just as a general human kind of culture thing, like this first week of January, I think is a really tough one to get through. In winter's in full swing, if you have like the seasonal thing, like if you live somewhere where you have seasons, like it's cold and dreary. So I need a pick me up. Like I need something this week.
Okay.
I was really looking forward to hanging out with you guys and just kind of,
until you got here.
No.
I was really looking forward to you guys, and then I got here.
And I got here, and everybody's just like, man, come on.
Adjust your volume, Aaron.
Cyregdo says, it's the worst. Imagine it not only being the week that your birthday is on, but it's also on the Monday. It's the worst. But also, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Cyregdo. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, wicka. All right, listen. Here's something that'll make you happy. Did I get you? I got you.
No, the wicka was fine. It was the record scratch at the end that sounded more like a braking of a car at an accident. It was like wicka. Mercy.
I've been finding some interesting Twitch channels lately.
Yeah.
And one of them that I found was absolutely a delight. It's like this nonstop dance music by live DJs.
Nice.
And
that's fun.
The channel has people from all over the world that come on and do the dance, the music. And I happened to tune in when it was this one person. I wish I could remember Gianni Giobi maybe on Twitter.
I'll just believe you.
And the reason I wanted to do a shout out is because she was doing live piano with her DJing. So she'd get in there and be like, and then she'd like loop it. She's got this music and she's just over there and she's chewing this massive wad of bubble gum the entire time. And I found myself being like, I miss my calling. I should have been a DJ.
Yes.
It was incredible. Anyways, it brought me much joy. And so I was thinking of things that maybe would help you this week and possibly some cool music. And if you're watching live, it's fun because you're actually someone, I don't know. It's just I've been really enjoying Twitch lately. I think watching people be passionate about whatever they're doing, whether it's like a makers and crafters thing, gaming is interesting for me.
Or talk shows.
We're on Twitch too. I don't know. It's been really fun to see people's passion.
Acres Ridge Forge says, we made strawberry cheesecake deep fried chimichangas as a pick-me-up. Now listen, Acres, that sounds amazing, but also is one of the reasons this week is horrible. I cannot keep eating things
the way that
like
you've been
strawberry
eating
cheesecake deep fried chimichangas. I can't, I can't make the excuse, hey, it's the holidays. I'll just gain about 20 pounds, but I'll lose it in the next year and then keep eating like it's the holidays. So I'm having chicken.
Are you going back to plain chicken?
No, I love plain chicken, especially chicken thighs. And there's a little more fat content in the chicken thighs, which is nice. But I love chicken. So I'm good with chicken. Chicken, salmon, shrimp, like those are some of my beautiful proteins.
I have also been eating a lot, but I have been slowing down since Christmas week. So I've already had my like, okay, let's put the brakes on moment.
Yeah.
And I also been really proud of myself because my husband always likes to bring in extra sweets during this time of year. We always have little Debbie snack cakes. Christmas tree cakes are everywhere around our house. And he also always gets the white fudge dipped Oreo cookies. And this year I didn't have one of those at all. I've been eating baked goods. Like if I make banana bread or something, which Iris and I made banana bread a few days ago. And so I'll have like a slice of banana bread, but I've been already putting the brakes on. Whoo.
Yeah.
It was an interesting year this year. I don't know if it's because of pandemic or what, but I definitely felt like, I don't know, I felt like I was eating more. But because it was pandemic, I didn't have as much food the same as I have in previous years. In previous years, I would have had so many more sweets and a variety of them. And this year it's just mostly stress. But anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry this week is stressful. We hope that maybe this will kind of brighten your week a little bit.
See, that's the thing, right?
And just connect with people and try to find something to do that you love.
This is the source, right? Like this is how you push through. You have community, you have outlets where you're able to be creative. Like, it's just, I absolutely love this. So you ready, Shoe Dough?
I just want to answer Polly's question.
Sure.
Did you see the Little Debbie trees that were like double sized? My husband works for Little Debbie.
Yeah.
I see everything Little Debbie.
Months ahead of time, by the way. Yeah.
Yes,
they knew
I do.
about the double sized trees long before you did.
Yes.
Tell you that much right now.
I've got the inside scoop.
That's right.
A Little Debbie. I also have one more confession before we continue, and that is that I forgot a spoon, and so I'm using this one, which has been in my office for God knows how long, from how many shows ago. I just feel like confessing to you guys. Okay.
Fair enough. It's a good confession. So you ready, Shoe Dough?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
We're going to do our morning DNA, the DNA in you. Danae's going to have a topic. That's the D. Aaron's going to have a topic. That's the me.
Wait.
And it's backwards, right? Like because it's forwards, it's not a mirror and it messes you up.
It does.
And then you're going to have topics as well. So if you have anything you want us to talk about, just put the letter U at the beginning of your comment, so we'll know to go back to it to answer any of your questions, any of your comments. And it is Monday, so we've got the FAQs, the friendship application questionnaire.
Yes, we do. Of course we do.
While she's pulling that out, just a huge hearty thank you to our members of Team DNA. It's fresh on my brain because your support dropped into our account just this week. And I was just thinking how incredible it is to be able to do this thing and know it's appreciated in that way and to continue to grow it and to have the ability to stream at a higher resolution, to go live as long as we want, to do kind of all those things, to,
a marathon? Are you giving a hint?
I wasn't.
Okay.
Do you want to do a marathon, Danae?
Uh-huh.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So anyhow, thank you to our Team DNA members. And if you're interested in knowing what that's all about and all the fun little stuff there, you can go to patreon.com/Studio DNA.
We are making our way through the friendship application questions. Again, for those of you who are new, this is something I found in my office. Now that I have a new space, I'm compiling all kinds of memorabilia and randomness from my life. You'll see it everywhere behind me, and also in my office out that door. And this popped out one day, and it said friendship application question. Well, actually, technically, it says this.
Yes.
As if I speak French. I don't.
La amate.
So
is that how it's pronounced today?
Yeah. If you want to sound like you know what you're talking about.
Creatures. That's some creature, isn't it?
Listen, I've been playing so You're doing like the Muppets.
Yeah, that's who it is. Yeah, it's a Muppets.
You're
animal,
doing
right?
Animal from the Muppets, I think.
Yeah, something close to that at least. Mm-hmm.
I have been making up a whole bunch of interesting voices for my Dungeons and Dragons game for upcoming creatures that they may or may not be about to meet. So I don't know. Maybe it would just come out of that. Anyway. So we've got this question in our essay style section that we're at now. Coming over to my house is like walking into a dog house / zoo. Hey.
It was a mixture of animal and Gollum.
It was.
I think Matthew's right. I think there was a little Gollum in there.
I think you're right there. Okay, so this is still true to this day. It is like walking into a doghouse / zoo. How do you feel about a house full of hair and four-legged drooly beasts? It's a great question.
And then there's also the dogs.
It's true. It's really important that you point that out.
That is just the simple... See, this is, to be honest, possibly the first actual friendship application question we've seen on this friendship application questionnaire. This is legitimately about, can we be friends if you walk into my house and it's all dog hair and drooly beasts?
They have all been, up to this point, just dumb. Straight dumb.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing for me is, okay, pet hair is a thing. I can usually do dog hair. Cat hair, I cannot. I'm going to have to Zyrtec up. If we're going to be friends and you have cats, like...
You need to let the person know so they can Zyrtec up. Yeah.
I'm gonna pop one of those tiny little pills that lasts for 24 hours. How is that a thing? How is whatever's in that, like, pebble, like, just little grain of sand?
I know.
How is in that grain of sand for an entire day?
Follow-up question to that. How does that same grain of sand work for me and you?
Well,
you are like twice my size.
Yeah,
we both just take one. How does that work? Does that mean I should take a half?
I mean, I have to take 6 Advil to kill my headache. So, it's definitely weird to me that
depending on the headache, 1, maybe 2, knock it right out.
So I'm gonna have to Zyrtec up for cats. Dogs, not so much. I'm not too worried about the hair. Drool, fine, whatever. Doesn't bother me. Lick my face, dog. I don't care.
Well, at the time that I wrote this, I had a Saint Bernard, a pit bull. I may have had 2 others. One would have been an Australian Shepherd, and the other one looked like a miniature German Shepherd. But it was like a mix. So I had a literal zoo of hairy beasts, and there was hair everywhere.
Lots of jowls.
A lot going on. It was like
kisses.
If you sat on the couch, you would have 4 noses against your body somewhere really quickly. And
what a weird thing to say. Hey, come over to my house. Just warning you, you're going to have 4 noses pressed up against your body. Real quick.
One of them is the size of a foot.
Noses.
It's huge.
Right on your body. 4 of them.
Right
4
on
noses. Right on your body.
Hey,
so
how do you feel
if you're coming over? How do you feel about noses on your body?
You walk into the house, you've got one on your butt, you've got one on your front, you've got some on your leg. Like, they're just everywhere.
Just a warning, if you come over to my house, you're going to have a nose up your butt. I'm just warning you right off the top.
Hey,
you come over.
Some people think, oh yeah, I'm fine with dogs. But they don't understand that the St. Bernard's head is the same level with your lower half. So it's just a normal, like, oh, I'm greeting you. Hi.
Yeah. I just love the fact that you're not even mentioning you have dogs. You're just like, hey, if you come over, nose going to be in your butt. I'm just saying.
How do you feel about noses on your butt?
How do you feel about noses on your body?
This is why you make a friendship application question, to have these conversations before anyone comes over to the house.
So I don't mind the slobber. I don't mind the hair. That's fine. I'm dog if it's dog hair specifically. But the smell is interesting, right? And I think if you're a friend, you can get over it. But every house with pets has a distinct smell.
Odor. Yes.
And if you live in that house, you don't notice it. We had pets. Our house was the same way. And we would go away for a week and come back
and be like, whoa, we stink.
What does our house smell like? And it's like, this isn't our home. This smells like pets. And it's like, well, we have pets, but It's
What's
really
the saying? Like
interesting.
you always think you don't stink. Isn't that what it is? Like you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's more of a saying about being about snobbery, but yeah.
Oh, really? I thought it was like you're blind to your own
It's not
ways.
No, it's not a scientific
No. I know it's not a scientific thing, but it's true though. Like in that regard, you're used to your own house smells. You don't necessarily really, even if you have pets. So let's go to the chat a little bit. There's been some fun ones. This one coming in from Steven seemed to kick it off with do I get to pet the dogs as much as I want?
It's a good question.
Depends on the dog. There are dog rules. I, being an ex-dog trainer, I would usually introduce the dogs like kind of more in slow motion just to get a genuine sense of whether people would be comfortable. But the answer is yes. They're very petty dogs, so that would have been true. Our dogs now are teeny, or I say teeny tiny. They're like 30 pounds. That's not teeny tiny for some people, but they're pretty small for us. And they are like, if you sit down in a chair, they're in your lap, both of them together, like one crazy yin yang of puppy. Matthew says, it would be heavenly to me. I haven't had a pet coming on in 5 to 10 years now. Oh my gosh. I swore to my husband I was going to take a pet break after the death of our previous pack.
We all knew. But we all knew that wasn't happening.
Do you know what? Today is their gotcha day.
Oh, nice.
I've had them for 2 years, our new puppies for 2 years. Hey, you know what?
What?
Today is the 2-year and 3-day anniversary of my last dog's death.
Yeah.
Got him real quick. Polly says 2 cats, 3 dogs here. Animal hair is inevitable.
It's true.
Elizabeth said Stephen was asking the right questions. Nick says, I am allergic to cat hair and some dog hair. I'll come over, but I can't sit on anything. That's the things. That's the stuff that you want to know. Let's say that I'm friends with Nick and I'm having Nick over. I want to make sure I know these things so I can bring out a chair that I have kept in a specific box container.
Hypoallergenic
Wipe it down, pull it out.
Or so you're not spending the whole time being like, Nick, sit down.
Sit
down, man.
And all the other dogs are sitting like we are. Shaw. This one's from Lucas. I feel close to having an allergy crisis for just this conversation.
Yeah, I'm getting a little itchy.
Yeah, it is a lot. Wow, you guys have been popping off. I haven't seen that there's so much more.
Well, here's a good question. Lucas says, where's the puppy cam, by the way?
Oh my gosh. So
that's not going to happen all the time. That's going to be in every once in a while when Danae feels like it kind of thing.
Also helps if I don't get up and immediately just run from sleeping to the computer.
Right.
I overslept this morning. I forgot to set my alarm. It's part of this. It's part of this week for me. Okay, I've got to read this one from Melissa, who says, years ago, my parents adopted a German Shepherd puppy, and I accidentally trained it to sit in my lap whenever I sat on the floor. It was great till I came back from college, and Sasha was 80 pounds.
Yeah. No, I've had this experience before with Allie. When we got Allie, she was a black lab, by the way. She was a puppy and absolutely loved to just curl up in my lap and all those kind of things. And yeah, she grew and eventually got to, right around 80 pounds, that kind of thing. And would still want to like crawl up and be all up in you. So, yeah. Yeah. Although I wouldn't change anything, especially with my big dog, Madeline. Right now, I'm trying to see if I can glance quickly through some pictures and find a picture of my dogs for you guys to share. But maybe I can do that another day. She was, I think at her largest, 120 pounds. But she was considered a small Saint Bernard. She was the runt of the litter. And so that was actually really obese for her. And we realized she had a thyroid problem. So she was actually more comfortably, I don't know, like 100 some pounds. We call those quaint Bernards.
Quaint Bernards, yes.
Yes.
That's the right
That's the
answer.
technical term.
Yes.
Yeah, Maddie was a quaint Bernard.
So yeah, that's a really great friendship application question for today.
No, that's a for real one.
That's
I think it
there
touches
have
on
been other
something.
ones that are real.
No, I know, but I think it touches on something that is really important. It's like, okay, if we're going to be friends, here's kind of the stuff you have to deal with, right? And you kind of have those conversations with friends. And sometimes it's not about your home. Sometimes it's about your psychology, your personality. You're like, listen, this is one of my pet peeves, and I just get grumpy anytime this happens, and I'm sorry. And, like just those conversations of, are you going to be okay with that? Because this is a real part of my life.
Yeah, and I do like this conversation too as a dog lover, because I do think it's important, if you are an animal person, to talk to somebody new about your animal life before inviting them over to the house. Yeah. I did find a video I can quickly show if you want me to.
I mean, sure. Yeah, I'm sure everybody would love to see Maddie. I knew Maddie. Maddie was great.
Yeah, Madeline was awesome. This is a believe this is it. This is one when she was older, so you'll see her. She's like an older doggy. I don't know if this is going to work. Mostly because I've already clicked the button and it doesn't appear to be working very well. So you're not going to be able to hear it, but the big birdie is my bird, my Madeline. You can kind of see her limping around. And that's my St. Bernard. I'll skip ahead here and see. So look at her face. Look at that puppy's face.
That's the nose that's going to be on your body.
Yes. And then back in the corner, you can kind of see the other dog. But this is like, if you got down in front of her, this is what you would be seeing. Mm-hmm. So anyway, she was a good old dog. I miss her much. I wish she was still around. But now I have other puppies, and I will bring back the puppy cam. Thank you for the reminder. That will absolutely be happening.
All right, let's move into the D topic. Danae, what do you got for us today? What are we going to talk about?
Today, I wanted to ask this question of you all. What is a recent regret purchase of yours? Let's talk about that. Usually, now, are you talking about buyer's remorse, or are you talking about actual regret? You're talking about, actually, I really wish I hadn't bought this, or are you just talking about that normal thing of, should I have gotten this? Okay, I'm right on the cusp. I think either is super okay.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about both.
Okay, so here's where I'm at. Here's where the inspiration for my question comes from, because I'm struggling with this decision of whether or not to return this desk that I purchased. So I bought a desk. It's a big deal for me because I've been looking for a desk for a very long time. And I've looked on used sites like Let Go or OfferUp or those kinds of things, or like marketplaces or what have you. And every once in a while, a desk will pop up and I'm like, ooh, that's close. But it's not quite what I want it to be.
Yeah.
And when I had my birthday this last year, I turned 40 and I was like, this is big. This is let's do something monumental for me. And as lame as it sounds, the one thing I want is a desk. I want workspace. I want to have the L-shaped workspace. And if, Aaron, you've worked with me for so long.
I have.
Name a desk I've had that I've been like, yes.
You haven't.
I've been working off of like side tables, armchair rests, hand-me-down desks that are falling apart for forever. I've never had a desk.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that you completely fully like.
Right. Mostly, I just want to be able to like have like little workstations where I can kind of like turn my body, and I can, because I like to explode when I work. And I think the reason that I think about this so much is because I've really asked a lot of questions. Do I need a desk? Yeah, I need a desk. Why do I need a desk? Okay, well, what's my work style like? And so I've really asked myself a lot of questions before making a purchase, because a brand new desk is expensive. So we bought a desk, and it was supposed to come December 18th. And then it was supposed to come this week. And it's still not here. So it gives me some time, so much time to think about what I've done. To regret the decision. Yeah.
Well, this is good, though. No, this is good because your regret is not actualized. You haven't experienced this thing, right? This would be so different if you'd had it for a week and you're like, I still don't like this, and I can't believe I bought it. Like, that's a different thing than, well, now I've had a lot of time to think about it, and should I have done this? Like, you're still kind of in the purchasing regret moment of it.
I am, but the other thing too is I've gone into my office and I've measured out where it's going to be, and I've been preparing for the shift because I've adjusted to whatever workspace I have. Like right now, I'm working off of a desk that's meant to be a corner desk, and I've got it positioned in front of my window, and I've got like just tons of stuff all around me because I am a person that likes tons of stuff around me. And this new desk is one open workspace. So I know I'm already going to have to put shelves on the wall so that I can continue to kind of build up that space. So I'm just kind of preparing myself mentally and going, okay, this is the work I've got ahead of me. No worries. I can make it happen, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, as time goes on, I'm thinking, what if I just canceled my order, paid whatever restocking fee, and just like got a table? Just like, what if I just got a little card table? It was like, whatever, I'll just have a card table, because I feel like sometimes, maybe you guys do this too. I like, oh, I deserve it. I deserve this perfect desk. I deserve this like beautiful craftsmanship thing. And it is a beautiful desk. One side lifts up so I can stand up. And the other side, which I can do in my office, by the way, I can come into this space exactly right here and I can stand up and kind of move around a little bit. And the other side is just like this long L. It also has where I can plug everything into the desk itself rather than running cords everywhere, which I also like. So there's some things I really like about it, and I can kind of try to find. But there's some like really inexpensive options that are not quite what I want visually, but would work just fine, that I could get at like just an inexpensive place and just spend a couple $100 and be done with it. So I called to just inquire what the restocking fee, and they're currently waiving restocking fees. So now I'm thinking about canceling my order, recouping my money, and then just going for a different plan.
Have they shipped it?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Then maybe you should. Maybe you should pull that trigger. I mean, strangely enough, my most recent story is also a desk. So
what? Are you copying me?
Yes, exactly. No, it is you that is copying me because I was first. But no, it was it was like a desktop to turn your table or desk into a standing desk where, you could lift it up, that kind of thing. And I had purchased it alongside with the monitor I'm using now as a way to kind of centralize this area that I'm working in, which, I love. It's very comfortable here now. But once I got everything set up, I was like, I don't need that. I can stand where I am and work just fine without having this $200 thing that's supposed to help me do this, but they had already shipped it. And so I received it and I was like, well, I wonder if I can return it. And they were like, sure, but you'll have to pay shipping. Well, this thing's, 150 pounds or something. So it was going to cost,
a lot,
$300. It was going to cost more than the thing to ship it back, kind of thing. So basically we sold it. We found somebody who could use it and we sold it for cheap and, took a little bit of a hit, but I didn't need it. And so it happens sometimes,
It's so strange. And I know budgets are tight, things like that. So it could be something small. It could be something large. For me right now, it's a large one. And I'm just really struggling with. It's interesting too. I know I could call some friends and they would instantly say, no, keep it. You deserve it. You've wanted it for so long. And they would tell me that. And I could call other people and they'd be like, oh, just send it back. And like, why don't you just have somebody make something for you that you really like? Yeah. So Lolly says, my regret is mostly stuff I didn't buy because I'm rubbish at spending money on me. Oh, that's an interesting twist. Well, what's something you wish you would have bought? I hope it's a desk.
Is it a desk? Because Danae has one she might sell you.
No, I don't. I don't actually have it at all.
No, that's true. That's true.
Also the other thing is we didn't pay for them to assemble it. So I'll have to assemble it myself. And I was looking at the directions and it's going to be a project.
Elizabeth says, I bought a new mattress back in June. I don't really regret it because I did need a new mattress, but it's not as perfect as I thought it would be. I don't think it's ever as, when you buy something, you hope that it's going to be perfect. And it rarely is. That is buyer's remorse, right? It's like, oh, there's also this thing, by the way, materialism, that kind of thing, where there's an interesting psychological need that you're trying to fill sometimes too. I'm speaking to myself where it's like, this is going to make me happy,
feel
right?
better.
This is going to make me feel better. And it has been my experience and the experience of many, many others through the history of time. Stuff doesn't do that. It may do it for a split second, that with the adrenaline, the endorphins.
Yep.
But it is not a long-term solution to fulfillment. Is stuff. It's just not. So yeah. So there's always going to be that part of it, I think.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, Elizabeth, that yours is like it's not an extravagant purchase. It's like a desk, a mattress.
Right, yeah.
I didn't buy a car. Hey, there's something I'm really proud that I'm not regretting is the purchase of a car.
Nice. That is a good one.
Aren't we glad that one didn't go sideways?
Listen, I've often said that the best thing I've taught my children is that you don't need a new vehicle, that you can find somebody's vehicle they don't want anymore for
cheaper,
$1,200 and drive it for a couple years and not have to worry about car payments. Like that's, if there's one key to financial success, it is way up there for me.
Don't sink it in a car.
Learn how to drive a point A to point B car. Don't get car jealousy. That's just, it's not worth it. So,
Doc says there's a few digital purchases I regret. I can't get my money back. On a side note, don't watch Future Diary. It's terrible, messy show. Digital purchases are interesting. That's so true.
Yeah, it is true. Nick says we had our carpet removed and wood floors put in before Christmas, and I like it, but the living room feels too nice now and not warm and inviting and comfortable. Shh, don't tell my wife.
No. Rugs, man. It's time to get some rugs.
Get some rugs. Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We have a lot of floor space that's just hardwood, and it does make it look really, really fancy. So we've been looking at rugs. Rugs are so expensive, though. My gosh, it's like $500 for a rug. So, and then if you buy them used, you're like, what am I buying?
Yeah.
What am I taking home with me? So,
Miguel says I bought a lot of cool decorative stuff, but it's hard to move and find a place for everything. This is so true. We've done a lot of decorative purchasing recently, and every time it's like, well, I guess we're never moving from this house because it's so specific to the room you're in, right? Like a lot of the stuff I'm doing with my movie display stuff in our theater room is, which is our family room. We don't have a dedicated theater room. It's actually, I just turned the actual family room into a theater room, is kind of that way where it's like, well, I mean, how does this transport somewhere else? It doesn't. So guess we're living here forever.
Yeah.
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 Which is fine. I like this house very much. So I'm good.
I heard someone say, never say you're forever home because you never know. But there are homes that feel like a forever thing. And I think mine and yours right now for sure feel like that. I think ultimately why I wanted to have the conversation is I think if you're given time to think about something, you have an opportunity to imagine, oh, what if I had made a different choice? And so I think I'm going to return it. I think I'm going to call it. I'm supposed to get a call from the company today, I think. And they're going to refund my purchase in its entirety. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the money that I had spent on that and see if I can have somebody make something specific for me. I think I might measure my space and just be like, hey, craftsman, because how cool would it be to turn to somebody, especially now when money is tight, and be like, hey, you want to do a project and here's some, here's several $100s. Do you want to, help me with something? So I think that's what I'm going to do. I don't think I'm going to regret it because I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long, I think I'm just realizing now that I know I was supposed to have this desk a month ago. So it's like, oh, I want something to work off of. So the patience thing is also an element here for me.
For sure.
Anyway.
Absolutely.
Stephen asked a good question. Can your brother make something for you?
He does that.
Thank you for the shout out. My brother is an incredible crafter. He is on Twitch at Caffidget, Caffidget. I'll put it in the chat if you guys want. He probably could, but he lives so far away. He lives in Las Vegas, and I live in the Midwest in Missouri. So it would be very difficult. My dad probably could, though. And I have thought about asking him. By the way, I did want to give an update. He is feeling well. Oh, my dad is feeling good.
Appreciate that update. Very nice. You ready to move on to the A topic?
Yeah.
All right. This is going to be an interesting one, Danae. Let's talk about Bean Dad. This blew up yesterday on the internet, and I sent you a link to the Twitter thread that kind of blew this up. It has now been deleted. He has deleted the thread. And the reason is simple. And I will give you some of the basics here. to this thread, so you understand. If you didn't see the Being Dad thing yesterday, I'll lay it out for you a little bit. But because of how vehement the response was to his parenting in this thread, I think he just decided it's just not worth it just to have it up. And I totally get that.
It was an interesting extreme, wasn't it?
No. Now, see, here's the thing. Are you talking about the extreme of his parenting or the extreme of the responses? Because I think the extreme of the responses far outweighs the extreme of his parenting.
Let's talk about what happened.
Yes. So basically, this dad.
I'm sure someone took screenshots.
I'm sure you could find it. Absolutely, I'm sure you could. I mean, it absolutely blew up on Twitter yesterday, and I don't know how it translated to other social media sites, but I know on Twitter it definitely blew up. But as a parent, he has a 9-year-old daughter who was hungry and brought him a can of beans and said, "I want to eat some beans." And he decided to take a teaching moment because she was struggling to figure out, how do I get into this can of beans? So he decided to take a teaching moment, according to him, and have this moment of, well, how do we do this? Is there a tool for this? So she found the can opener, and then he was like, well, how does a can opener work? How does this get in here? Wanting to teach her, to think critically about how a can opener works, how she would figure it out. So he was resolute that he was not going to tell her how to do it. He was going to make her figure it out. And that process, as explained by him, and again, that's important to remember contextually, is this is storytelling. He's telling a story here, to make a point about parenting, that kind of thing. And he's talking about the fact that she would get frustrated, that there were tears involved, that she couldn't figure it out, that she would quit and then come back to it. And he made the decision, we're not going to eat until we get this figured out, kind of thing. She was orienting the can opener the wrong way. And so they would talk about, well, let's think about what the inventor was thinking about when they made this can opener, how it works, that kind of stuff. And eventually, in his story, the moral of the story is after 6 hours, she figured it out. And the relief and the joy and the accomplishment, the feeling of accomplishment, was something that he really appreciated and felt like he taught her how to problem solve and how to be independent and do it yourself, those kind of things. And I read this thread, and revealing about myself, I'm sure, and I would love to learn if I need to learn about myself as a parent, I was like, I could have posted that. 100%, I could have had that moment with one of my boys when they were 9. And reading some of the comments, I was like, that people are accusing him of abuse. They're accusing him of, being the worst kind of human. They're accusing him of ruining his daughter and her perception of men. And all these things, and I'm just thinking, this is really wild to me. So I wanted to get people's perspective. I wanted to know where I need to learn, where maybe my perspective is off. But generally, I wanted to, Danae, know what you thought about it when you read it, and I want to know what others think about it. Yeah, let's talk about it.
First of all, John Roderick deleted his entire account. So it wasn't just the thread. It was his entire account. So the backlash was intense. When you're talking about it, I was looking at some of the headlines. Headlines are always interesting to me. The first one is outcry as Bean Dad forces hungry child to open tin can. That's from BBC News.
Right, yeah.
CNET, Bean Dad viral thread opens a Twitter can of worms. Outcry as Bean Dad forces hungry child to open the tin can. Who is Bean Dad and how did he become Twitter's #1 hated man?
Man.
Who is Bean Dad and why does the internet hate him? Bean Dad becomes Twitter's first main character of 2021. Bean Dad deletes Twitter account and old tweets. Mm-hmm. So it's just a bad situation. I think the moral of the story that we're going to get to is just don't post anything on Twitter.
I wish it wasn't though. I'm a free speech absolutist.
I know. But let's just say I watch this stuff very carefully because having a 3-year-old and realizing that I have opinions on how I'm raising her, I just don't really share things that I feel people can have opinions about. That's always tricky. So there's people can have opinions on everything.
Sure. Yeah.
Mostly because I just don't. I'm not looking forward to be canceled someday. There's always a probability of being canceled because of the way the culture is. I mean, anytime because we're public.
I mean, that's the other thing. Even just doing this, you know, even just giving public opinions on
somebody
things.
could cut something in different orders and take our voices, and they could take things out of context, etc. But specifically about Bean Dad, I read the Twitter thread, which I was able to get to obviously before. So I'm glad that I got the link from you and immediately read it. Props to myself. So I went back and forth on it. Part of it was like, to me, it was like I was reading somebody's way of raising their kid. I didn't like that she was hungry and she wanted food and she was crying and she was just like, please, can I have this can of beans? But I feel like if it was a serious situation, he probably would have done something different.
Of course.
And he also wasn't eating. So it wasn't like he was having a steak dinner in front of her being like, good luck with the beans, kid. You know, he made it a teaching moment. Are we in that society where you have to learn how to use a tool to open a can of beans? No, we're not in that society. And I think it was a little bit, it did seem a little bit Aaron Dicer to me. Where
that's the thing. I'm just reading and go, I totally could have posted this because for me, it's not about the beans. It's about life. It's about learning how to be independent. I'm like, he gave her a gift. I couldn't believe that people were upset about it.
He gave her a way to get through critical thinking
when she wasn't in danger.
He activated a part of her brain that I think that's what I appreciated. If I appreciated something about it was how silly it became to me that they were celebrating opening the can of beans by the end, that they were both so excited to get into the beans and open them up. Now, I also need to say about this Twitter thread, like, he embellished a lot, like with his words. He's a storytelling person. So it was a drawn out thread. Like, dude could have gotten to the point much quicker and maybe people wouldn't have been so invested in it. I'm not sure. But here, you know, she's struggling for literally hours to open up this can and she finally does. And I am watching my 3-year-old struggle with stuff right now and know the answer to things and not give them to her so she can make those connections in her mind.
Yeah.
But I'm the kind of person who would be like, okay, let me show you how to use this tool, not good luck, kid, you know, figuring it out yourself, how to open up this container. And maybe maybe there are certain times whenever I should push her mind a little bit. But I do that in other ways. So let's just say, for example, it's about food. And she's at the age right now where she's having trouble tearing open the cellophane to get into like a snack bar or something. That like little one hand goes forward, one hand goes backwards, and you're tearing on the perforation thing. She's still trying to get that. The grip of the little fingers, the way that you have to twist and pull, all that stuff, same kind of thing, but with a can opener and a can of beans. So I will like show her how, and then she'll start it, and then I'll say, yep, now keep gripping, and I am instructing her. Whereas this dad was just like, kick you out the door, kind of like, go figure it out yourself. Yeah, because she's having to figure out how the mechanism works. She's having to figure out, okay, when this turns this way, then this turns this way. Cool thing, she figures it out. I love that. Cool thing, she actually perseveres. That's cool. I know so many young people who don't ever have to figure out how a mechanism works. Like, who opens up a can or a can opener and says, okay, so this twists this way and this grips and this goes this way. That means logically, this is how you would put it on the can and da-da-da-da-da, right? So she, I think, learned something fun. My question is, how is she? Is she traumatized?
Right.
This is her dad. She's used to this stuff, right? She's used to her dad being that guy. So should the internet freak out? Probably not. Did they? Yes. Leave the dude alone, I mean, is my opinion on that. Although I didn't, the kid was 9 years old, Mr. Pro Poutine.
I wanted to put this up here because it brings a distinct, in fact, the way I saw about this was she's 9 was trending. The trending tag was she's 9. And I thought about that a lot. And I'm like, do people really not think 9-year-olds are able to do things? Like, I think a lot of people are missing a lot of context. Number one, we're all missing the actual context of being in that room, right? So right off the bat,
lots of assumptions.
We're making lots of assumptions on his attitude, on, like you said, he's kicking her out the door or whatever. I assumed he was there with her, just not telling her exactly what to do.
Me too.
But instructing with little things. But we're all making assumptions, right? Then there's the lack of context. And again, I promise it's okay to have opinions about parenting if you're not a parent. That is fine. In fact, it's admirable to think about those things, even though you haven't lived that life. But you are missing some context of what it's like to parent a child at different ages. And 9 is the perfect age to learn a lot of this stuff. Like
if she was 5 or 6, that's super different, right?
Right.
Because,
yeah, exactly.
But 9, I think, is a perfect age. And you know what? Also, this is Danae's life. This is my life bleeding into this moment, because that's all we can do is we can just put our own filter over this moment and
make
kind of
assumptions. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I had a lot of stuff done for me, so I didn't have to do a lot of critical thinking. And I struggle with critical thinking to this day. I hit mental barriers and I don't want to go through them.
Right.
I was just talking about this yesterday, how quickly I'm just willing to walk away from stuff. I'm like, I don't get it. And I just kind of move on. What if that unlocked something for her and she realized that she has this powerful tool? Think about scientists and engineers and doctors who just can, and I know I have a very brilliant mind in a lot of ways, but in some ways I feel like really, really underdeveloped. And that's just, maybe that's too much personal reflection. I'm sorry that I made it weird for you guys, but I don't know. I don't know. Could I sit down and be given a tool and actually work through the frustration and the tears? And 9, man, that's an interesting age too, because you're starting to develop new sets of hormones and everything. I mean, 9 isn't too early to just even that cycle is starting to think there's just so much going on. To have the confidence that you figured something out. Now that's me assuming how she's feeling.
Right.
What if she was traumatized and upset and blah, blah, blah. But it sounds like at the end, she was really proud of herself for figuring it out. But that's her dad's opinion. This reminds me too, before we go over to the comments, this reminds me too about my thoughts on something like Dance Moms. I'm going to make a big leap here. Dance Moms, when the show first came out, I watched a few episodes. I sat back and I was like, I want to see what these girls think. So let's let them grow up and see what they have to say about this experience, because we're seeing through the filter of their teachers, we're seeing through the filter of the mothers, and we're seeing through the filter of TLC Network or whoever was putting it on. Let's see once these girls become of age and they're 18, 19, 21, 22, and they can speak for themselves. What did they think about that experience? Because that's what I want to know. And that's probably the only opinion that at the end of the day should matter, is the person who actually experienced it. But as far as shaming how to raise a child, everybody does it different. Everybody screws up their kids somehow. I think hopefully his intention was pure. It seemed so. It seemed lighthearted when I read the thread. It didn't seem like he was trying to be an ass. He actually even said out loud said on his thread, I know I'm annoying. I'm annoyed, that annoying dad. He kind of, he did that self-referential thing where it's she has to put up with me because I'm this guy that wants to teach how to do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that same thing of, I know that feeling of my kids having to put up with the lessons I teach them and how I teach, and also knowing that I still feel like I'm doing the right thing, that I still feel like it's going to serve them long term to learn to be critical thinkers. I think of the moments where I learned those lessons, and for me, it may have been like video games where I didn't have a cheat code or something where I had to, figure it out and learn critical thinking skills and figure out how the puzzle worked and do that kind of stuff. We live in a world of cheat codes. We live in a world where it is easy to get the actual answer, but doing the work to get there isn't as much encouraged. And that's what spoke to me about his story was he's teaching her how to do the actual work.
I will say, Lolly says it's kind of extreme to go for 6 hours, but it's one instance. That makes me think of two. If you realize as a parent that you could teach your child something that would help them and improve their life somehow, maybe don't make their meal the incentive.
Okay, let's talk about meals.
Maybe make it like, hey, make it a treat or something. I don't know. Does it need to be... Is the motivation for learning have to be hunger? And I think that might be one of the things that really is tripping people up.
6 hours. I mean, come on. I mean, really? 6 hours?
I know. I know.
No, you're talking about the human need to eat. You're talking about hunger, right?
I'm talking about the incentive for figuring it out. Does it need to be survival based?
Survival based is 6 days, not 6 hours.
For a 9-year-old, it's a little different.
No, I mean, they'll survive.
They will.
She was never in danger. Like,
no. But in her mind, she's got a need.
Right.
She wants to fill the need. Her body is saying, I'm hungry. She wants to fill the need and eat. So now if it's an adult, I think the mentality can shift. Like, I know I can survive 6 days without eating.
Yeah.
I'll figure this can out. You know what I mean? It's a little different. But for a 9-year-old who has to get permission to eat a can of beans, like maybe just go, oh, I should teach her how to use a can. Let's get you some food, and then I want to teach you something. But I think he chose that moment. Maybe it could have been a little different.
I think what I think is interesting about it is he's using natural motivation, which I think is a beautiful thing. Like there's this idea of you are currently naturally motivated to do something you wouldn't be otherwise. And I'm not going to put you in danger. I'm not going to, but you have a natural motivation now that I can use. I have used hunger as motivation. I've used it for my children mostly in trying different types of foods. A lot of parents do this. Where it's like,
oh, you're hungry?
Here's the food on your plate. You're hungry? Eat it. Like that kind of thing. And you're not eating a cookie or something else until you eat this.
Yeah.
And so I've used hunger as motivation.
Sure.
But I've never.
But you use hunger as motivation to try food, a variety of food, not to be like, hey. I'm going extreme here. I'm going to go extreme here.
Feel free.
We're going to put you into this escape room. Good luck getting out. Your incentive is to get out of this escape room so that you can eat.
Right.
Which had to be what it kind of felt like in a way, you know. Anyway.
At the end of the day, parenting's hard, right? And we're all going to screw it up. And I was really just flabbergasted at the response to this. And I had that inkling, that urge the entire time to be like, do you have kids? And I try not to do that, right? Like, because again, it's totally fair for you to have opinions about things that you haven't experienced. That's okay. But at the same time, there is context there that you may be missing.
Just gotta be careful when you decide what you're going to post on the internet. I mean, you never know when something's going to be taken the wrong way, but certainly parenting experiences could. Yeah. Matthew says, give me a break. Is this a generational thing? As a Gen Xer, I'm glad he did this.
Maybe it is. I'm Gen X as well. So yeah.
Let's see what else are people saying.
Oh, there's plenty. We can go through it.
Polly says all those people complaining about it I do not know them and the way they work as a family. I do similar things, but maybe not to the extreme of 6 hours. But I make them think about things. And I think that's important too. Is allowing that feeling of frustration to come over you so you can experience. You know what it reminds me of a little bit too is when I was in martial arts. One of my big takeaways from martial arts was when you're in a fight, even if it's like a situation where you're technically safe, but someone's attacking you, you feel the adrenaline. So that way, if you're ever in a situation where you are attacked, you already know how to kind of control that, or I know what my body is doing. Similar with frustration and anger and those emotions, I don't think we should run from them. I think we should try to find ways to experience them, especially as we're learning. Aaron has been around me many, many years, and I am volatile when I learn. I get angry when I learn. My emotions are really intense when I'm learning, and I'm just like walls up. Like it is really, really hard for me to work through learning, as I've talked about.
The simplest things, by the way. Like you've talked
Thanks,
about
Aaron.
this. No. You've talked about this.
Danae, this is a button. Can you push it?
Well, it will happen where, and what I've learned is, and we're talking about technical things like audio editing, those kind of things. What I've learned is you have to be ready to learn, and how you get there is on you. But and so when you get there, almost inevitably you'll be like, oh, that's it. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
Well, and that's something too, as I've talked about. Like I really didn't. If I felt the emotion of frustration or confusion, I just was like, well, then I'm not going to do it. So to give the opportunity to feel those emotions in safe spaces and work through them, I think is really healthy. So personally, I mean, I hope to be able to try to do that with Iris. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Boy Don't Play says, your opinions about parenting are perfect until you have your own kid and they punch you in the face. Mike Tyson, maybe?
Man.
There's a famous Mike Tyson quote about everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
The Boy Don't Play, you are so right. The first time my kid popped me in the face, I was like, whoa.
Oh, this is real. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, like my martial arts defenses stuff, so, like I started to be like, and I'm like, whoa, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't react.
Polly adds, I have a 9-year-old in the house. I make him do a ton. He can make his own macs and cheese. In
Macs
the
and
box,
cheese.
with some supervision, of course, but he can do it all by himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of underestimating 9-year-olds. That was the other thing I saw, was just like the she's 9 thing. I'm like, yeah, she's 9. Like, this is the perfect time to learn this stuff. So, lots of good stuff.
Let's see. This one comes from Dawida says, if it actually took 6 hours to figure out how to use a can opener, her dad waited way too long to teach this lesson.
Well,
but that's the thing. That's the thing. He didn't teach her like he didn't teach her. Okay, he didn't come alongside her and say, "Here's where you clamp it down," and then you hold. He wasn't
trying to teach her how to open,
and then you turn. He literally just said, "Figure it out on your own, kid."
Right. Here's the people are missing the lesson. He wasn't trying to teach her how to open a can. That wasn't the lesson. The lesson was how to independently use your environment to problem solve. That was the lesson. It wasn't about opening the can. So, yeah.
Well, it was for her because she wanted some beans.
Right. But it wasn't for him.
Man.
He was teaching her something deeper.
He was like, this is the tool. Can you figure out how to use it? So she had to actually like open it up and look at it and figure out the gears and such. He even described at one point in time going back to the can and seeing how marred it was. Talked about how it was dented and like getting sharper on the edges and stuff. But then he also described the moment whenever he watched her figure it out. And that was my favorite part of the thread, was his delight in her figuring it out. Like the light bulb going off and then just it was quiet and there's just them breathing as she's like working it, and like the little bit of juice started to come out where she could tell that the serration was starting to work. And just then the pop open, he described the smell of beans filling the air. Like it was very dramatic. And just that she was really proud of herself. Can that moment happen in other areas to activate the brain? Probably. But that's the way he did it.
This is the point I was trying to make with that. Propatine says, much less of a lesson learned if the can gets open and then the dad tries to teach after. The kid probably just goes cool and walks away and doesn't internalize it. You know, that is the power of natural motivation, and I think he's using it appropriately.
Saragdo says, kid wouldn't have cared to learn at all if she wasn't hungry. Would have just looked at him like, Dad, just let me go play. Same kind of point, right? Like you do have to learn when those teaching moments are, and maybe I'm wrong because I don't have a 9-year-old, that the motivation, you have to strike when the motivation is right and kind of find that sweet spot to teach. I didn't mind it. I will say this. I didn't mind it. I don't know that that's how I would do it, but that I didn't think, oh my God, this is dramatic. In fact, until our conversation right now, I didn't realize it was a big deal.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't reading the comments though. I wasn't following the hashtags or anything. I just clicked on the thread and read through the thread and had my own feelings about it. He reminds me of the kind of dad reminds me of you, but then he also reminds me of like an inventor dad or something. Like what was that show where they would try to figure out if stuff would work? Shoot. It was like two guys. They had this. Are
you talking about Mythbusters?
Thank you.
Okay,
Gosh,
right.
Can we just stop and give a shout out to Aaron Dicer for being able to literally pull Mythbusters? I got that from
two guys trying to make something work.
This is one of the reasons why we work together, y'all. There's a reason for it. Yeah, it reminds me of Mythbusters. Like if they had a child that they were trying to teach something, it just reminds me of that inventive kind of mind that's like, yeah, let's figure it out. Da, 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 da. Yeah. And like, so cool.
Yeah, there's a real independence there that I respect. You know, the idea of teaching your kids that they can do it themselves, and because that is the whole point of being a parent, is you're not going to be there someday. That's the whole point, is that someday you're not going to be there to show them how to open a can or to open a can for them. Like those are the 3 steps, right? Like, the old saying is, feed a man fish, he eats for a day. Teach him to fish, he eats for a lifetime. Well, teach him why he's fishing, he can teach others how to fish. Like there's that third step of, even deeper than just teaching somebody to do something, it's teaching them, how to figure out how to solve problems and be a critical thinker. So, yeah.
The Boy Don't Play says, doing this at the age of 9 prevents us from a society full of 25-year-olds, 25-year-old college graduates who do not know how to do their own laundry. And Mr. Probatine says, that is a big point Danae just mentioned, finding the sweet spot. If the kid is sick and wanted some soup, that is a terrible way to try to teach.
Right, obviously, yes.
We have to assume the kid was in a good state. And that is one thing I think we should just kind of like wrap up there. Let's try to assume the best. We're all trying to do our best in this world. I think one of the reasons that social media is scary is because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people, their first assumption is that somebody's the enemy. And so this guy was obviously just raked over the coals for that.
Yeah.
Do we have time to go with you questions today?
Yeah, let's
Aaron?
do a couple. We're going past time, but that's on me. I picked a talker.
No, it was a great chat, a great topic.
It's definitely one I'm glad we talked about. And I was, social media, like I wanted to say things on Twitter. Like I wanted to talk about it on Twitter. I was like, not worth it. Just not worth it. I'll talk about it on the show.
You don't want to just
attract a little
attract
more give and take on context and
well,
stuff.
and we have such a great community here of people who know our vibe, and that we like to try to go into topics that sometimes are a little bit frightening as humans that don't get it right. We could have this conversation tomorrow and have different opinions, but today, right now, in this moment, that's kind of our feelings on. I don't know. It is hard because you do have to take into consideration parenting styles and teaching styles, and it's hard not to be a little bit judgmental of that.
Yeah.
And that's okay, as long as we're doing our best. Anyhow, if you guys have any questions for us today for the you portion, just put a you before your question. Any question goes, but we won't obviously answer every question.
We'll take one or two if you've got something you want to talk about. Lolly says, "Oh, we're Aaron's safe space. You are.
You are.
You're my public safe space where I can, find out, because honestly, this is why I'm a free speech absolutist. We have to have spaces where we can say the things we're thinking, even if they're wrong. And even if, because we have to be corrected, we have to be able to find spaces where somebody can look at us and go, now that you've put that thing out in the air, how does it feel? How does it sound right to you? Does that work? Because if you keep it all inside, you'll just keep building on those incorrect thoughts, And so free speech is the power of learning. And I think we have done a lot in divisive culture to eliminate free speech. Just my fear of posting on Twitter about Bean Dad is a limiting of free speech. Now, could I have posted? Sure, I have the legal option of doing that, but there's a limiting nature to the divisive culture that teaches me, I might as well just not engage. So there has to be a safe space to engage with your thoughts and your words.
Well, and also a major difference too is, for you, Aaron, wanting to have a conversation, knowing that Twitter isn't a place for in-depth conversation. Twitter is a place for limited characters. And also, that's a dedication of time. If you're going to have a conversation about a hot topic like that, I think it would actually be, you'd be fine, because I feel like I know you well enough that you would probably try to comment on every comment. It would be an investment. You'd be investing. It
would take a lot of my time.
It would take a lot of your time. Whereas this is different. We can have more of a, and it kind of still lives. People can always watch it if they're really invested in learning about our opinions and who we are as people. They'll watch it and kind of learn.
You question for Mr. Propatine. What are your personal goals for the year outside CinemaSins / Behind the Sins? What are your personal goals?
I really want to start something specifically public with Dungeons and Dragons. There's just such a community that's popped up in the CinemaSins and sphere. There's so many people that talk to me on the regular about D&D that I really want to do something with that. But that will need to have some workshopping, so they say, because I will need to have someone or some people to assist in that project, whatever it might be. So to pull it back a little bit more into something that's just for me, I've been writing a lot since starting to lead my own game, and the world that I've created and the stories that are kind of happening, sharing those with the people that I've been able to share them with. They're all like, please write this stuff down and make a story. So I'm kind of tempted. I have a lot of writing prompts. I've got a lot of the stuff that's just pouring out of me, and I'm keeping it all, writing it all down, most all of it down, So I think my goal for this entire year is to try to create a system of note-taking and world building that isn't as chaotic as it usually is. My process can be very chaotic. Scrap notes of paper here, 16 different kinds of notebooks, nothing is centralized. And that's just a lack of experience. And this is a project that I can kind of use as a way to kind of go, okay, Danae, if you want to be able to pull information for the story, let's say that my characters go back to this place or something that we haven't talked about for 6 months. How can I find that information quickly? Because I shouldn't be searching through like scraps of paper and notebooks for something I wrote down. So creating a system. I would love to, at the end of this year, have gone through a little bit more of a refinement process, personally. It's a good question.
Personal goals would include health. I want to get healthy weight-wise again. So my goal is to lose 2 pounds a week for the entire year. So that's one goal I've set. And then probably restart my personal movie reviews, my top 5 or my top 5, but my 5 reasons reviews.
Really? My gosh.
I'm trying to figure out what that looks like.
You should have a producer though. You shouldn't have to do that all by yourselves.
I appreciate that.
And as a friend, let me tell you, I won't do it for you.
I'm thinking about just doing them for the SIFPOP members. I'm thinking about, or at least doing a lot of them for SIFPOP members and maybe like one a month publicly.
Cool.
Because I know there are people who support what I do with my movie reviews, and I want to honor that. So
cool.
So yeah, I think I'm thinking about that, and yeah, that's kind of what I've pondered.
In the same vein of movies, you questioned Aaron did a sweet list of top 200 movies. Where is Danae's list?
Is that a winking question? Danae hates making lists.
I hate making lists. No. I love making specific styles of lists. Like my to-do lists and things that I'm trying to remember. I love making those lists. When it comes to my content, though,
yeah, just doesn't connect with Danae that way.
No, in fact, I feel like a bad friend because I was just looking at Aaron's Twitter feed, which is all about lists right now. And I'm like, and I just, I don't even look at your Twitter feed anymore because I'm like, list. And actually, a couple days ago, Jonathan, Aaron, and I were connecting about work. And they literally said at the end, okay, let's talk about movies. And I just like got out. I was like, I'm out. I literally I left.
I'm going. Let's see. Danae, you want to tell Miguel about the little white guy behind you? It looks kind of like Baymax, but that is not Baymax.
This is Paddington. Mm-hmm. He is from the Dreamland Chronicles, and he was sent to me by the artist Scott Sava. I always say his name weird.
You do say it a little weird, but
I always say Sava, but I think it's Sava.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Scott Sava, but
Sava. I say it very strangely. Sava. Sava. It's a really wonderful story. Paddington is a rock giant, and so he sent me the plush toy, and it just gets to sit here in my studio, and he sits on my shoulder perfectly. Look at that.
Oh, nice.
So, okay,
a little shoulder Paddington.
Yeah.
All right. I did want to mention somebody had a U question right at the beginning. I think it was Nick. I'm not sure if Nick's still hanging out with us. We can't scroll back that far, but he was asking about North by Northwest because he's speaking of lists, checking off movies on my list that he hasn't seen, and was really flabbergasted by the ending of North by Northwest. There's a reason it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's absolutely incredible. So. There you go. I think we're good. I think we covered everything. Please try to remember your questions for next time. We go live on Mondays and Sundays. So wherever you're watching, whether it's Periscope, which is apparently going to be absorbed into Twitter soon, so keep an eye out for that. If you're watching on Twitch, thank you so much for watching YouTube. We also streamed it. Facebook.
We go to as many places as we currently are allowed. You can follow all that information below. But the most important thing is because we go live every Monday at 9 a.m. Central, you can set your clock to that. Set your timer, set your alarm, set your calendar, set your reminders for that. We also go live on some days. So if we are able to, we will connect with you again at some point during the week. Also, it would be in the morning, 9 a.m. Central. You can also follow us on our social medias, on Twitter, Instagrams, all the Twitchy places. So follow us. For those of you guys who support the show, we genuinely appreciate all that you do for us. We have a silly little stretch goal right now of getting to 41 people supporting us. And at that point in time, I'm going to be DMing a game for this guy. So who has never played D&D before. I have a couple of ideas of some content we could release just for you guys on Patreon, as well as maybe something more public so you all can enjoy it. That's just a silly little goal, much like the shirt that he's wearing. But truly, behind it all, you actually help us, as Aaron said at the top of the show, to have the ability to do what we're doing right now. We would do this somehow anyway, but being able to go live with you and interact with you and have, streaming to all these different platforms, our patrons make that possible. So huge shout out to those of you supporting at patreon.com/StudioDNA. I think that's it.
We'll catch you on the next Monday or someday. We love you all. Thank you for joining us every time.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.